Good afternoon, guys. All right, let us start. So today we are going to do important questions on GST and ITC. Okay. And if time permits, I'll also teach warehousing. We'll finish off warehousing part that we have left from yesterday. So should we do warehousing first and then go to GST questions? Or should we do the question first? What do you guys want? GST, okay. We'll complete off the GST questions first, and then we'll, if time permits, we'll go to the warehousing concept. All right. So let me first drag this question. So today we'll understand how to actually claim ITC through electronic credit ledger and electronic cash ledger. Okay. So we know how much ITC to claim, what is the eligible ITC that we have learned. But now let us understand, if electronic credit ledger is given, how to claim ITC from that part. Okay, we'll do that first today. Right. So tell me guys, what was electronic credit ledger? Electronic credit ledger. I explained 3 types of ledgers, right? Electronic credit ledger, then electronic cash ledger, and what was the third one? Electronic liability ledger, na? So your actual payable liability will appear in electronic liability ledger. Your input tax credit appears in electronic credit ledger, and the actual payment of tax will be done through electronic cash ledger. Okay. So here today what we'll see, today we'll see how to actually pay tax after claiming ITC, after claiming the ITC. Okay. So this will be part of your question, Sam. This will be the part of your question. So they will give opening balance of ITC. Okay. So what we generally do, we do output GST minus input tax, right? Output tax minus input tax. But in the question, sometimes they might also give you opening balance of GST. Then in that case, how to pay the actual tax, that we'll see. All right. So generally what happens is we say output GST, that is GST collected by the, from the customers, that is my output GST, correct? And less what we do, we do input GST, or better yet, eligible input GST, correct? That is GST paid to our suppliers, but only eligible, correct? And then remaining amount is your tax payable to the government, right? Tax payable to the government. Okay, this we have learned. We have solved questions also on this. Now, what happens when your electronic credit ledger already has opening balance of input tax credit. So in the last month, see what has happened now. For example, in the last month, output GST was, let us say, so example, in the month of March, output GST was 1 lakh. Okay. And input GST was 1.5 lakhs. Eligible input GST. Yeah? So do I need to pay tax to the government, guys? Output GST is 1 lakh. I have collected GST of 1 lakh, but I have eligible input GST of 1.5 lakhs. So what happens now? In this case, tax payable will be what? Tax payable will be 0, correct? And this 50,000 GST 50,000 input GST is recorded in electronic credit ledger. It is recorded in electronic credit ledger, right? And when we start computation for the month of April, computation for the month of April, what we'll do? First, we will adjust the remaining 50,000. Remaining 50,000. If this concept is clear. Okay. So generally what happens? Generally we have a tax payable, right? Output GST is higher and input GST is lower. Generally output GST is higher and input GST is lower. So there is a tax payable to the government. So we just pay that tax, right? We just pay that tax. But this can also be a situation. Output GST collected was only 1 lakh. GST collected was only 1 lakh and eligible input GST that I have paid is 1.5 lakhs. So tax payable will be 0. Tax payable will be 0 and this balance of 50,000. This balance of 50,000 GST is recorded in electronic credit ledger. Right? So now when I start my April month, first what I'll do? First I'll adjust this remaining 50,000. Correct? This 50,000 is called as the opening balance in electronic credit ledger. See if you understood what is the meaning of opening balance. Okay, or you can say that 50,000 is at the beginning of the period. There was 50,000 balance at the beginning of the period in the electronic credit ledger. All right. Okay. So now let us see how to utilize this credit. Let us see how to utilize this credit. Now I'll give a simple example first, then we'll do a couple of examples. So you guys know the entire GST and ITC, entire problems you will understand them. Okay. So let us say in the month of March, IGST, CGST, SGST. I'll just scroll up. So what I have, those who have joined late, what I have telling is what happens when there is an opening balance in electronic credit ledger. Okay. What happens when there is an opening balance in electronic credit ledger? This question we'll do it later. Okay. So this question right now, I'll not do this question. This question I'll do it later. Okay. So now let us see this question. This is example that I'm going to take. Guys, pay attention. This is very important. The opening balance in electronic credit ledger is given as follows. Okay. In the month of March, this is in the month of March. So let us say this on 1st March. It's on 1st March. Okay. So IGST is, let us say 50,000 rupees. CGST balance is 22,000 rupees and SGST balance is, let us say 21,000 rupees. All three balances can be different. All three balances can be same. Okay. It's a balance. Okay. Now guys, pay attention. IGST, CGST and CGST and SGST. Again, the same columns I'll do. Okay. In the month of March, so again, this is for March, during March. Okay. Output GST, output tax. Let us say output tax was 1,20,000. Okay. 1,50,000 and 1,12,000. This was the output tax. Okay. And my actual eligible input tax also they have given. Eligible input tax is given as, let us say 78,000. Okay. Then 85,000. Okay. And let us take this as, let us say 65,000. Now I want to know how much is the tax payable? How much is the tax payable by the company at the end of March? At the end of March. So now guys see, it is a simple calculation. It is a simple calculation. Opening balance is already one kind of a ITC only. Opening balance is already one kind of a input tax only. And we already have the eligible input tax also. Na? We already have the eligible input tax, right? So my eligible input tax will be claimed later. My eligible input tax will be claimed later. And this opening balance, I'll adjust first. This opening balance, I'll adjust first against my output tax, right? So output tax is 1,20,000. This opening balance is also an input tax. So input tax, opening balance was given. That also I'll have to adjust. So input tax opening balance was 50. This is 22. This is 21. Correct? So my tax payable will be what? My tax payable will be 1,20,000 minus this, minus this. Okay, 8,000 negative. Here 1,50,000 minus 22 minus 85, 43. Oops, what happened? Okay, minus 22 minus 85. Right, this is correct. And here it will be 1,12,000 minus 21,000 minus 65,000. See if this is clear, guys. Yes or no? Simple, na? So input tax, I'll not just deduct the input tax, but I'll also deduct opening balance. Now guys, see, IGST, there is still balance left. There is still balance left in IGST, right? Because IGST is appearing negative. IGST is appearing as negative, na? Still there is a balance left in IGST. Now that IGST balance can be utilized to payment of CGST or SGST in any proportion, because I have already paid off the IGST. I have already paid off the IGST. Now this IGST, I can utilize the IGST towards payment of CGST or SGST in any proportion that I want. So I can further do this. I can further do this calculation. Okay. So my tax payable, CGST was how much? 43,000. Okay. And SGST was 26,000. Okay. And I have further utilized the remaining IGST. Negative balance. Negative balance means I am having that much balance. I will further utilize this IGST as in 50-50 in the ratio of 50:50. Right? So 8,000 balance was left. So this will be 4,000, negative 4,000, negative 4,000. So that negative 8,000, I have taken it away. Right? I have taken the negative 8,000 away and I have utilized in CGST and SGST. Right? So my final balance will be what? Tax payable, net tax payable. Next net tax payable will be IGST 0. This will be 43 minus 4,000 and this will be 26 minus 4,000. Okay, so the doubt is, can the 8,000 be opening balance for April? No, you claim that IGST, na? Remaining balance you claim it, na? Because IGST will have opening balance, but CGST and SGST are still payable. So if CGST, SGST are still payable, I'll just pay off the remaining CGST, SGST. So my IGST balance has now become 0, right? This 8,000 now becomes 0, and this 8,000 I bifurcated equally between CGST and SGST. So my net tax payable was 39,000 CGST and 22,000 SGST. Okay, always try to finish off your balance. Always try to finish off your balance. If all three came as 8,000, sorry, if all the three tax payable came as minus 8,000, minus 6,000, minus 4,000, then those will be opening balances in the month of April. Is this clear? If someone has their mics on, mic on, please mute yourself. Okay, so if all the balances came out to be, negative, if this was -8, -4, -4, then we cannot do anything, right? Then that will be opening balance for the next month. Always remember, if tax payable is coming out to be negative, I need to further utilize it. So first utilize your balances towards your own payment. So first IGST will be utilized against IGST only, correct? CGST utilized against CGST only, and SGST utilized against SGST only. See if this is clear, guys, if this question is clear. Okay, in college you were told to give CGST the next priority after IGST. That you can do, but I'll give one more example. Why my priority will change? I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you why my priority will change. It is up to the manufacturer how to pay the liability. Does not matter, na? CGST, SGST rate are same, na? So doesn't matter if I pay off CGST first, SGST first, does not matter. Okay, I'll give one more example. And I'll tell you why priorities can change. Payment of tax priorities can change. Okay. Next doubt is, if IGST and CGST has negative balance, we will utilize the entire balance towards SGST. No. CGST cannot be utilized against SGST, and SGST also cannot be utilized against CGST. Right? So let me write this. Let me write the rules of utilization. Okay. So rules for utilization. First thing, IGST can be used for what? Can be used for what is the priority? First priority is IGST, correct? And second priority is CGST or SGST. It depends upon the manufacturer, upon the company. Okay, I'll take an example. Dongyung, I'll take the example to clear your doubt. Okay. So IGST will be first used to pay off IGST. Okay. And even then, if IGST remains, then you can either pay it for CGST or SGST or both. CGST or SGST or both. Okay. Now, CGST can be used for what? CGST can be used for, first, it will be used to pay off CGST only. And then it will be used for IGST, and it cannot be used towards payment of SGST, because CGST and SGST are half rate, right? They cannot be utilized against each other. CGST and SGST cannot be utilized against each other. Okay, so doubt is, sir, if you had given 8,000 to only CGST, would that be okay? Yes, that is upon the company. Company can decide what to do. Okay, company has the option. People will generally pay off the central government liability first, right? In real life, people will generally pay off CGST liability first, because that is a liability of central government. And then you pay off the liability of state government. Okay. But I'll take the example. To make this clear. Okay. And similarly, SGST can be used. You guys tell me now. Used for first. For what? First for own head, SGST, then for IGST, and it cannot be used towards payment of CGST. Okay. See if you understood this. In case of UTGST, then this will be SGST/UTGST. No? This will be SGST/UTGST. Okay. So whenever the concept of UTGST comes, you always have to remember, instead of state, you are taking union territory. Okay, done. Is this bifurcation clear? Okay. So IGST can be used for IGST and IGST can be used for anything, CGST or SGST or both. Okay. But CGST can be used only for CGST and IGST, not for SGST. Similarly, SGST can be used only for SGST and IGST and not towards CGST. Are the rules for utilization clear to everyone? No problem till here? Okay. Okay. Now see, I'll just change the example a little bit. I'll just change the example a little bit. Okay. So let me take this example over here. You guys will tell me what will happen. So opening balance is 50,000. Let us say here the opening balance is 52,000. Still not coming. So let us say 72,000. And here the opening balance, let us keep the opening balance as it is. Okay. Now what will happen, guys? Tell me. So this was the output tax. This was the output tax. This was the opening input tax. And this was the eligible input tax during the month. This was input tax during the month. Yes. Now what will happen? IGST of 8,000 will be used to pay SGST, right? Right. So now actual tax payable, this will be 0, correct? This will be negative 7,000 and this 26,000 will reduce by 8,000, right? But we cannot utilize this 7,000 towards payment of SGST. Yeah? Okay. Right. So actual tax payable, this becomes 0. This is negative 7,000 and this is 18,000, right? So this 18,000 has to be paid using which ledger? Electronic cash ledger, right? Has to be paid using the electronic cash ledger. This 18,000, correct? This 18,000 will be paid using the electronic cash ledger because you have to actually make the payment. And this 7,000 will appear as what? Will appear as next month's opening balance of CGST as 7,000. Next month's opening balance of CGST as 7,000. CGST cannot be used to pay off my SGST. Yeah? See guys, if you understood this example. Clear? Utilization examples are clear, everyone. This will become 0. IGST will become 0 because I can use IGST over here. So IGST will become 0. This CGST cannot be used against SGST. So CGST remains as next month's opening balance. Okay, in electronic credit ledger. In electronic credit ledger. Okay, and this 18,000, 26,000 minus 8,000. 18,000 has to be actually paid using cash ledger. Okay, the question is, the doubt is 3 different ledger will be there for IGST, SGST and C. No. So 3 different ledgers are for what purpose? If you are making the payment after utilization, if you are still liable to pay, you will pay using electronic cash ledger. Okay. After utilization, if you have balance, that will appear in what? Electronic credit ledger. That will appear in the electronic credit ledger. Okay. And if there is any other liability, right? Any other liability which is not yet paid, that will appear in electronic liability ledger. All right, done. Understood now this, guys? Everyone has understood this? Now, next example. Let us say this was also 51,000. Now what happens? Now what happens in this example? It cannot be further paid, right? 7,000 will go in electronic credit ledger, na? Sakshi, it will go in electronic credit ledger. 7,000 is negative, na? Tax payable is negative, means it's a refund. So it should appear as credit balance. not a liability. Okay, yeah. So in this case, it cannot be paid further. All my payments are done and still I have a negative tax balance. If I have negative tax balance, means I have a credit. So my next month's electronic credit ledger will show opening balance as follows: CGST positive 7,000 CGST, correct? Sorry, IGST positive 8,000. This will be 7,000 positive balance and 4,000 positive balance. Correct? This closing balance becomes the opening balance over here. Okay, so debit balance will become a credit balance and it will appear positive. Okay, and then these three figures again you can use in the current month as opening balance ITC. Opening balance ITC. All right. So I think utilization doubts are clear. Okay. Now let me take a question which will solve Dongyung's doubt. Okay. So this question I didn't want to take at first because this is a bit tricky question. Let us see. XT Private Limited, a supplier of goods, pays GST under the regular scheme. It has made the following outward taxable supplies in the tax period. Intra-state supply of goods. Guys, if it is an intra-state supply of goods, which GST or which GSTs will come?
CGST or SGST.
CGST and SGST. Okay. Then interstate supply of goods, it will have IGST. Correct. So these are my outward supplies. Correct. These are my outward supplies. Okay. Because it is supply and this is my interstate purchases. So this is my output GST. This is my input GST, right? Table 1 is the output GST. This table will give me the output GST. Everyone agrees? Here it will be CGST plus SGST. Okay. And here it will be IGST because it is interstate. Correct. Similarly, this table will give me input tax because these are purchases. So this table will give me input tax. These are purchases. Again, same. Intrastate purchase. So this will be CGST plus SGST. Okay. And this will be interstate. So this will be IGST. All right. And then they have also given me what they have given me. The company has the following ITC at the beginning of the period. Beginning of the period means what? It becomes my opening balance. It becomes my opening balance. Correct. So what I'll do, output GST, I'll start calculating output GST minus opening ITC and minus this month's ITC. Understood now, guys, what we have to do? Okay, let us do this question. And then let us see how we are going to utilize our GST. Okay, how we are going to utilize our GST. All right. Oops, what happened? Okay. So they have given this data and they have given the rates also. Rate of CGST, SGST and IGST are 9%, 9% and 18% respectively. Both inward and outward supplies are exclusive of taxes. All conditions necessary for availing ITC have been fulfilled. Okay. Compute minimum GST payable in cash for the tax period. Make suitable assumptions as required. Let us do it then. Let us do this question. A bit important question, huh, guys. This is a bit important question because the calculation is a bit different. Okay. So now see, so first step 1, what we do? Step 1, we calculate for outward supply. Calculate my 3 figures particulars, then CGST, SGST and IGST. Right. So first is my intrastate. Intrastate. If it is an intrastate, amount is 8 lakhs. Amount is 8 lakhs. And at 18%, they are said, na? GST is 9%/9%. Correct? CGST is 9%, SGST is 9%. So 8 lakh at 9%, 9%. So this is what? 8 lakh into 9%, 72,000, and this is also 70,000. No problem. This is the output GST. Yeah? Understood now why I have broken up in 70 to 72? Because it is an intrastate supply. Now, interstate supply of 3 lakhs. Which tax? IGST rate they have given. IGST rate they have given 18%. So I'll write directly in 18% column. 3 lakhs into 18%. So my total output GST collected, total output GST collected is how much? Is 72,000 CGST, correct? 72,000 SGST and 54,000 IGST. No problem in step 1, guys. Everyone has understood step 1, outward supply?
Yes, sir.
Now, step 2 is what? Step 2 is I just want to calculate eligible input supply. But in this question, we are assuming all inward supply are eligible. They have given in the question below that all inward supply are eligible. They have given that. So our job has been made easy. So particulars, same columns. All right. So now intrastate, it is an intrastate. So again, the same thing. Intrastate 2 lakhs at 9%/9%. Because it was intrastate, we'll charge CGST and SGST. So 2 lakh into 9%. So 18,000 and 18,000. Intrastate will always be bifurcated between CGST and SGST. And then interstate is how much? 50,000, right? 50,000 at the rate of, they have given the rates 18%. So 50,000 into 18%, 9,000, right? So my input GST will be how much? Input GST will be 18,000 and 9,000. Okay. And then my opening balance is how much? Opening balance is given. CGST is 57,000 given in the question. Correct. SGST is nil. I'll write 0. And IGST is 70,000. IGST is 70,000. Okay, understood, guys? Till here, no problem, na? Guys, any problem till here? Okay. Now see what is happening. So tax payable. How much is the tax payable? Here tax payable is 72 minus 18, 54,000, right? Here the tax payable is 72 minus 18, again 54,000. And here the tax payable is 54 minus 9, tax payable is 45,000. Okay. Now, how will I use this opening balance? 70,000 out of the 70,000, first 45,000 I'll use towards IGST, na? I'll use towards IGST 45,000. And now, guys, see this. CGST, does CGST have enough balance? Does CGST have enough balance to pay off the tax? Yes, correct. If CGST has enough balance, will I distribute again to CGST? No, na? No, here my priority will not be distributing to CGST. My priority changes, right? And my priority becomes after IGST. My first priority becomes payment of SGST and not CGST. In this case, Dongyung, here is your doubt. Explanation to your doubt. Okay. I have enough balance in CGST, right? I have enough balance in CGST, correct? So CGST can be paid off using CGST balance. CGST can be used, can be paid off using CGST balance, right? So I'll use the remaining IGST to pay off my SGST liability first. Okay. Right. So that's why don't learn that, you know, first priority should always be CGST after IGST. That is not true. But people, given the choice, if let us say I have both payables are there, CGST and SGST. People will, in reality, people will choose to pay CGST first. Why? Because it is a tax of center government. You don't want to, go into breach of central government provisions, right? So in that case, if both taxes are payable, then that case I can decide whether I want to pay CGST first or SGST first, right? But in this case, my priority will be paying this. So what you guys can do, instead of over this thing, I'll just write opening balance of GST. Opening balance of GST was how much? 57. This was 0 and this was 70, correct? And then we will calculate the tax payable, right? So my tax payable is how much? 72,000 minus this, okay? Here tax payable is 72,000 minus this, correct? And here the tax payable is 54,000 minus this. So same logic that we did in the last question. Okay. Now, tax payables are negative means IGST is having a credit balance, CGST is also having a credit balance, and SGST does not have a credit balance, right? So how are we going to utilize? Guys, tell me. Can CGST be utilized against SGST?
No, sir.
So this will remain negative 3,000. Okay. This will become 0, and this entire 25,000 I'll write over here. Okay. And my tax payable here, it will be still negative 3,000 because there was no utilization, right? There was no utilization. Okay. Here 54 minus 25 I utilized. So this is 29,000 and this becomes 0. Now this 29,000 has to be paid using which ledger? This 29,000 will be paid using the electronic cash ledger, na? Okay. And this negative 3,000 will appear where? Appear in next month's electronic credit ledger as opening balance. Done. So that's what we have done. That 25,000 of IGST can be used to pay SGST. Yes. Understood now, everyone? Utilization. All right. Can you explain utilization again? So see, what we have to do, we have to just do output GST minus input GST minus opening balance of GST. Correct? Opening balance of GST was given. Na? Right? I'll just insert one line. So step 3, this is step 3. Step 3 is write down. Step 3 was write down the given opening balance. So step 1 was output GST. Step 2 was eligible input GST. And step 3 was given. Step 3 is always given in the question. Opening balance of GST. Correct? So tax payable will be what? Tax payable will be step 1 minus 2 minus 3. Tax payable will be step 1 answer minus step 2 answer minus step 3 answer. So now I have got these balances. I have got these balances, right? So now only SGST is payable. SGST is payable. So I can utilize only IGST to pay the SGST, right? I can only utilize IGST, negative IGST to pay the SGST, and CGST cannot be used to pay off SGST. So this 25,000 credit balance, tax payable is negative, means we have a refund, right? Tax payable is negative means we have a refund, or we can also call it as IGST credit. This credit will be utilized to pay SGST, right? So this becomes 0 and SGST is reduced by 25,000. And this 3,000 cannot be transferred over to SGST, yeah? Because CGST cannot be transferred to SGST. Clear now? Pratik? All right. Let us do one more question now. Let us do one more question. So where now this question, we will cover everything that we have learned, huh, guys. You guys will have to decide what is the eligible input. Step 1 also you have to do. Step 2 also you have to do. But step 2 eligible input, you guys have to decide. And then step 3, opening GST will always be given. In these kind of questions, opening GST will always be given. Okay. All right. Let us do the next one. You guys want to try this question on your own? Let me read the question first. Let me read the question. Alpha PLC of Pune, Maharashtra is in the business of bottle manufacturing. It is in the business of bottle manufacturing. ITC opening balance in electronic credit ledger is given. Okay, there is a doubt. If there is a tax payable balance in SGST and SGST and we have to refund available in IGST, can we just fully pay off any? Yes, yes. You can. It is up to you now. How to pay off the liability. That was the doubt of Donging also. Okay. Do I have any priority? No. Okay. But in real life, what people will want to do? People will want to pay off the liability of center. So theoretically, you can do anything. IGST balance you can use to pay off fully CGST, or you can use to pay off fully HGST, or you can pay off in any proportion that you want. Okay. But in real life, people want to pay off the liability of the central government, right? So actually, people will just try to pay off the CGST first. But theoretically, you can pay off anything. Huh? Theoretically, you can pay off anything using IGST. There is no rule in this thing. Huh? There is no rule as such. Okay, got it now. So ITC opening balance is given, IGST is given, CGST is given, and SGST is given. Opening balance is on 1st April, right? And then the April data is given. Inward supply is given. So inward supply will help you calculate input GST. But you will have to be careful. You'll have to see which input GST are eligible. Huh? You'll have to see which input GST are eligible. And outward supply will give you output GST. Outward supply will give you output GST. You have to be careful whether it amounts to supply. If it does not amount to supply, you cannot collect GST. Huh? If it doesn't amount to supply, you cannot collect GST. So calculate the eligible input supply, calculate output GST, and opening balance is given. Opening balance is given. Right. So opening balance was given. Opening balance was what? IGST, CGST, and SGST. So opening balance is given. Step 3 is given. 40,000, 10,000, and 10,000. Now let us calculate the eligible input GST. You guys will tell me one by one, huh, guys. You guys will tell me one by one. First, I am a businessman of Maharashtra, right? So raw material received from X Limited from Maharashtra. First of all, eligible or not? Any problem in this input? Normal raw material. Any problem in normal raw material?
No, sir.
It's an eligible input, right? It's an eligible input, right? So raw material from Maharashtra, right? The total amount is 2 lakhs and at 12%, at 12%. So if it is 12%, it is within the state. Should I put in IGST or should I divide between CGST and SGST?
CGST and SGST.
Right. So this will be 2 lakh. 2 lakh into 6% will go for CGST and 2 lakh into 6% will go for SGST. This is the eligible input, right? No problem now. It's a simple raw material, okay? And it is intrastate. So that's why the 2 lakh into 12%, 2 lakh into 12% will be bifurcated between CGST and SGST. Next. Again, it's raw material received from Y Limited, but from Gujarat. Eligible or ineligible?
Eligible.
Eligible, but then this 3 lakh at 5%. What happens over here?
IGST.
IGST, because it is an interstate, right? Because it is an interstate, it will go in IGST, right? This was intrastate. This was intrastate. So divided between CGST and SGST, right? Intrastate is divided between CGST and SGST, and interstate is directly under IGST. No problem till here, guys. Understood? Okay. Next. I'm a manufacturing company. Rent paid for factory. Eligible input or not? Factory rent for the furtherance of business or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Eligible. Rent paid for factories, eligible, no problem. And it is in Maharashtra only. It is within the same state. So 2 lakh into 18%. It's in the same state. So 2 lakh into 18%. So that will be divided again between CGST and SGST. So that will be 2 lakh into 9%, 9%. 18,000. Okay, next. Rent paid for head office. Eligible or not? Yes. Is it for furtherance of business? Or head office? Head office is also for furtherance of business, na? So again, 1 lakh into 18%. Eligible input. This is the eligible input. Rent paid for head office. Like I said, input services and capital goods. All three, we have to just check whether it is eligible, right? So don't think what is eligible. Just think what is ineligible. Okay. Just think whether some of this fall under ineligible. If it does not fall under ineligible, then by default, we'll have to take it. Huh? Okay. 1 lakh into 18%. IGST or CGST, SGST? What should I do?
SGST, CGST.
Right, because it is head office. Head office, it's in the same state. So 18,000 divided by 2, so 9,000. So these first four all were eligible. Huh? First four all were eligible. Next, consumables. Consumables for machinery, they are saying. Consumables for machinery. Eligible or not?
Eligible.
Right. Because food and consumables, eatables, those consumables are not eligible. But consumables for machinery are for the furtherance of business. No? Consumable for machinery will be for the furtherance of the business. Right. And machinery will be used in factory. Okay. So if nothing is given, I'll assume it to be intrastate. So 9%. 4,500. Any doubt till here, guys? If this was consumable for employees, then if this was consumable, then it is blocked credit. Food and consumable for employees will be blocked credit. Next one you guys should know. Traveling expenses for partner, 50% are for personal use. What happens? How much should I take?
50%.
50%. 30,000 instead of 60,000. I'll only take 30,000 at 18%. If nothing is given, I'll just divide it between CGST and SGST. Okay. If nothing is given, don't assume IGST. Yeah. Don't assume IGST. Okay. Next. Lift installed from works contractor.
Ineligible.
Why ineligible?
Because works contract.
Because it's blocked credit. It's blocked credit. It will be what? It will be works contractor immovable property. Right? So lift installed is blocked credit. Right? Ineligible. Ineligible. All right. Machinery for factory. It's capital goods. Machinery for factory capital goods. 4 lakh at 18%. 4 lakh at 18%. Depreciation is claimed on 4,72,000. What happens?
No, sir. No, sir.
Because 4 lakh into 18%. Sorry. 4 lakh into 18% comes out to how much? 72,000, right? 72,000 means depreciation is claimed on 4 lakh plus 72,000. So machinery, why ineligible? Why ineligible? Someone tell me.
Because depreciation should be exclusive of
Correct.
GST.
Correct. Depreciation is claimed on value inclusive of GST, right? Value inclusive of GST. That's why it's ineligible. And the lift was ineligible because it is works contract for immovable property. Works contract for immovable property. All right. Labor services taken in Gujarat from Gujarat. Eligible or ineligible?
Eligible.
Eligible. If it is not breaching any provision, it is always going to be eligible. But intrastate or interstate? It will be IGST now, because it is taken in Gujarat and it is taken from Gujarat, right? So it will be IGST because it is interstate. It is interstate. See if you understood everything, guys. See if you understood till here.
So how is it interstate?
Because I am a manufacturer of Maharashtra, right? I'm a manufacturer of Maharashtra. I have taken services in Gujarat from a supplier in Gujarat. So how come it will be intrastate? Services are also taken in Gujarat and service provider is also in Gujarat. So it will be in interstate. Okay, so there was a doubt, but sir, head office can also be in different state, right? If I'm registered, if I'm a registered manufacturer in Pune, my head office will also be in Pune. Okay. Unless it is specifically mentioned, okay? Unless it is specifically mentioned, don't make any assumptions. Okay. Everything clear? So eligible input GST is how much? Eligible input GST, just take the total. Eligible input GST, just take the total. Na? These are my eligible input GST, right? These are my eligible input GST. Any doubt, guys? Any doubt? Okay. So the doubt is, sir, when do we take lift into consideration? Yesterday only I explained this doubt, na? Okay. See, guys, there is a lot of confusion for lift. So what you guys do, you guys just write an assumption. Lift is an immovable property. Okay. ITC on immovable property is not eligible. That's it. Okay. Because you guys don't have that much detail. Okay. You guys don't have case laws, right? You guys don't have case laws. Dongyung also, you are also having the same doubt yesterday. So you guys just write an assumption that lift will become part of immovable property, right? And therefore ITC on lift will be ineligible. That's it. Okay. So I don't want any more confusion on this, because it takes a lot of, understanding of case laws to interpret this. It needs a lot of understanding of case laws to interpret this. It is not needed at BCom level. Okay. So you can just write a note for lift, that lift is a part of immovable property. Okay. So we are assuming the lift to be immovable property. That's it. Understood, guys? Okay.
Sir,
Ha.
if they say that they have a branch in Gujarat,
then it will be what? It will be intrastate. Because if my branch takes labor services for a branch in Gujarat, right, from a Gujarat service provider, then it will be intrastate.
okay.
Correct, na? But here no mention of branch is there. They are just saying labor services taken in Gujarat. So again, see, guys, what happens? Labor services taken in Gujarat from Gujarat. So in this case, you have a concept called as place of supply, right? We have to first calculate place of supply, and on the basis of place of supply rules, we decide whether it is interstate or intrastate. Again, place of supply is not there for you in your syllabus. Okay, place of supply is not there in your syllabus. So some of these examples now, these are confusing, but for you guys it will be simplified level examples. For you guys it will be simplified level examples. Okay, so don't go into those detail for BCom level. For point number 9, let us say if it was labor services taken from Gujarat, then what happens is, first I need to decide what is the place of supply. Okay, and based on the place of supply, I decide whether it is an interstate or intrastate. Okay, and then I take it as under IGST or CGST, SGST. Okay, next doubt is case study will be there for ACC. Case study is different and case law is different. See, sometimes what happens is that GST Act says that, let us say example, GST Act says that one particular asset is a blocked credit. Okay, but then someone fights against that in the court, right? And then court gives a case law. And then the law overrides the section, because we always take something called as, you have studied this in accounts. What is this concept called as? Substance over form. Right? Sometimes the decision of the court will override the section, will override what is mentioned in the GST Act. Okay, but I don't think for BCom level you guys have that much in depth. So you don't worry about this. Okay. So for your purpose, I'll just say that for the case of lift, you just write a note that lift is a part of immovable property, right? And therefore any ITC on lift will be always ineligible. All right. So those who are asking doubt for lift, that is Shadman, what is your name? How do you pronounce it? I don't know. Shadman and Dongyung. Is that clear to both of you? All right. Next. So now input GST is done. Let us focus on output GST now. Output GST. Also same thing. Yes. Any doubt, guys?
Just one doubt.
Hmm.
In point number 8, the depreciation claim, it's given as 4,72,000, right?
Hmm.
And in the outside column, it's given 4 lakh. So do we need to consider this amount, the difference?
4 lakh into 18% comes out to 72,000, na? So if depreciation is claimed on 4,72,000 means depreciation is claimed on value inclusive of GST.
Okay.
Right,
and if
na?
it was given 4 lakh, then
Depreciation claimed on
considered.
4 lakh means what? Depreciation is claimed on value exclusive of GST.
So in that
Then
case, we would consider.
eligible, and 4 lakh into 18% will be your GST divided between CGST and SGST.
Got it.
All right. Now let us consider output GST. Bottles supplied to Karnataka. We are a supplier of bottle, right? Bottles supplied to Karnataka. What will happen?
IGST.
IGST, right? So this is the outward supply. So Karnataka, sale to Karnataka. Supply, I'll not call it as sale. Supply to Karnataka. So amount is what? 15 lakhs at 18%. 15 lakhs at 18% will go directly in IGST. 15 lakhs into 18% will directly go to IGST. Right? Next. Bottles supplied to companies in Maharashtra. $25 lakhs at 18%. Normal, these are normal supplies. Huh? These are normal supplies. So this will be 25 lakhs into 18%. This is intrastate. So that will be 25 lakhs into 9%, 9%. Right? And then retail sales to local unregistered dealer. Should I take this in supply?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because doesn't matter if the customer is registered or not. Huh? The seller should be registered. Even if customer is unregistered, I can still take GST, right? I can still charge GST. So sales to local means what? Within Maharashtra, right? Local dealer, 2 lakh at 18%. 2 lakh at 18%. So 2 lakh into 18%. So 36,000. Okay. My total output GST. Is
Be 9,000. Sorry, 18,000, right?
oh sorry, 9,000, 9%. Sorry. 18,000 and 18,000. Right. My total output GST will be 2,70,000. Right. This will be 2,25,000 plus 18. 2,25,000 plus 18. Right. So now I have got all three of them. Right. So now I have. So now I'll show payment of liability. So output GST we got as IGST, CGST, and SGST. So output GST is 2,70,000, 2,43,000, 2,43,000. Correct. Then opening balance, or I can take input GST and opening balance of input GST. Right. So input GST was what? That also we calculated 29,000, 46,200, 46,200. Okay. And opening balance of input GST is how much? 40,000, 10,000, 10,000. Simple. I think everywhere it is going to be payable only. So tax payable will not come out to be negative. Output GST minus input GST minus opening balance. Right. Everywhere tax is payable. Right. These taxes will be paid through what?
Electronic cash ledger.
Electronic cash ledger. Done. Okay. If some of these were negative, then you guys know what to do. You guys know what to do further. Any doubt in this, guys? Any doubt in this? Is it very clear now? How the payment?
9th point, labor services.
Yes.
What does labor services exactly mean?
Labor services, as a manufacturer, I might need labor services, right?
Okay. And is there any need that it's written like taken in Gujarat and from Gujarat? Why is it mentioned?
Yes. Because see, like I was explaining, if it was just given labor services taken from Gujarat. In case of services, place of service is the place where the service is actually taken, not the place of the service provider. So if this was labor services taken from Gujarat, labor services taken in Maharashtra from a supplier in Gujarat, correct? Then the services are actually taken in Maharashtra, right? Then it would have become intra-state and we would have paid CGST and SGST. So if this was, let us say, labor services taken in Maharashtra from a service provider in Gujarat, then the services are taken in Maharashtra, right? Then it will become intra-state and we'll have to pay CGST and SGST. Understood? Okay.
Yes,
The
sir.
doubt is, sir, if would have been negative 2,01,000 in IGST, what would have been done? Okay. Let us see. So let us say that this was our final answer. Huh? This is our final answer. Hypothetically, let us say another example. I'm just taking another example. Huh? Oops, what happened? I think I copy pasted it. That's why it's showing like this. Okay. Whatever this was done. Okay. And my tax payable came out to be negative 2,01,000. Okay. Then 1,86,800. And what was your other doubt? Okay. And 1,86,800. 1,86,800. What to do now, guys? It is up to you, na? It is up to you how to pay off IGST, how to utilize IGST. Correct. So utilization of IGST can be done in any which way possible, right? But as I said previously, in reality, you want to pay off the liability of central government first. Okay. So I'll pay off central government liability first, 1,86,000, right? And then I'll pay 2,01,000 minus 1,86,800. Oops. What happened? 2,01,000 minus 1,86,800. Okay. I can show it this way, or I can show 1,05,000, no problem. No problem. It is up to you. It is at the choice of the company. But people will try to pay off center's liability first. People will try to pay off center's liability first. And therefore, net tax payable would have come as, this would have become 0, right? This would have become also 0. And this would have been 186,800 minus 14,200. This will be paid through electronic cash. See, it does not matter. Let me complete it first. It does not matter if you pay CGST or SGST. Both have the same rate, na? Anyway, both will have same rate. CGST, SGST rates are same. So it does not matter. Okay. Yes, Sarika, go ahead.
So do we need to write notes for this, like which tax we're netting off in the exam?
No need. You can just show it like this. In columnar form, you can show it in the columnar form. No problem.
Sir,
If it was like raw materials purchased from unregistered supplier.
If it was purchased from unregistered supplier, you don't need to pay GST. It will be ineligible.
But then about the reverse charge mechanism.
Reverse charge mechanism is also under block credit, na?
Okay.
Right? Even if it was reverse charge is also in block credit. Okay. Okay, done. Understood, guys? So this level of question may or may not come, but we have done it. Okay, just to be sure, we have done this type of question also. Okay, so now start practicing the questions that are given in your IDT by your IDT college professor. Huh? Start solving those questions now. Okay, done.
Sir, and on Google Drive, I'm not able to see Excel sheet after day 9. Like, is it that
I
it's
updated it today. I updated it today.
okay?
Okay. Also, one thing in that in your lectures, I have just put up one more this thing. Why imports or exports might be prohibited. Just go through that list. Huh? Why imports or exports might be prohibited. Like everywhere what we had done, that in import duty, in your import prohibition, officer should check whether goods do not fall under prohibited list, right? Correct. In export procedure also, it should check that they do not fall under prohibited list. So why imports and exports might be prohibited, that I have given a list. Just go through that list. Huh? Just go through that list. Okay. All right. Yes. And also guys, in export procedure, the first step was what? Submit a shipping bill. The first step was submit a shipping bill. So your college professor has given different types of shipping bills. Green color shipping bill, yellow color shipping bill, white color shipping bill, pink color shipping bill, and blue color shipping bill. Okay. Just learn which kind of shipping bill is for what purpose. If you want to claim duty drawback, you will submit the shipping bill in green color. If you are exporting goods which are dutiable, taxable, you will submit a yellow color shipping bill. If you are exporting goods which are duty free, tax free, you will submit a white color shipping bill. Okay. If you are exporting duty free but under a bond, export from warehouse. If you are exporting directly from warehouse, you will submit a pink color shipping bill. Okay. And if you are under DEPB scheme, okay. So DEPB scheme is not there for BCom. Okay. But still, if the question is for multiple choice questions, okay, you should know it will be a blue color shipping bill. Okay. So this was there in your college professor's notes. So I have added that. So two things I have added in yesterday's Google Drive. Yesterday's Excel sheet: types of shipping bills and the list of why imports or exports can be prohibited. This might be for a theoretical question. Explain why Government of India under Section 11 of Customs Act might prohibit imports or exportation of goods. So you will have to by default learn this list. Huh? There is no explanation to it. It is a list given by the government. You have to just mug up this list. Okay. So those two things you will have to just learn it. Huh? Okay. Now, also one more thing. There was a doubt yesterday that what about the payment and this thing. Delivery, let us say delivery is in February, in December, and payment is in January. Payment is in January. Okay. So in this case, what you guys can do is you guys can write a note. Okay. Because this is what it was told by the college professor also. Okay. Just write a note that since payment is made within 180 days, okay, ITC can be claimed even for payments made in January. Okay. So that rule is not the one we learned is not there for your 21-22 wala exams. Huh? So for you guys, you stick to this rule. Till September 21, this rule is there. So you guys stick to this rule. Even if payment is made in the next month, you can still claim ITC. Huh? Even if the payment is made in the next month, you can still claim ITC. Okay. Just be sure that the payment is made within 180 days.
So even if the payment was made in Feb, you would have counted for it.
Correct. Even if the payment is made in Feb, up to 6 months, it's okay. Up to 6 months, it's okay. Okay. So Dongyong, I confirmed that also. Huh? Now.
So for the lift question, the teacher said that lift also comes under plant and machinery. So it'll be taken into consideration.
That's why I said it depends on the case law. It depends on the state court, right? It depends on the high court's decision. In each state, the high court might have different decisions, right? So in each state, the treatment might differ. But you guys don't go into that depth now. You just say that lift becomes an immovable property and ITC is denied. That's it. For BCom level, this is enough. All right. Because see, what is the purpose of lift? That we have to understand. Okay. I think I spent yesterday's additional 20-25 minutes on this discussion only. When you guys left, there were some students who were asking the same thing, right? So for you guys, we keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't go into the case laws, right? Just write that lift is an immovable property, and that's why ITC is denied. Okay, keep it simple.
So we have to write a note, right? If we're
you have to write a note. For this also, you'll have to write a note. Huh? For this also, you'll have to write a note. Okay, you'll have to write a note why it is eligible or why it is ineligible. All right, done.
So one doubt, it's for custom. What is demurrage charge?
Demurrage charges, okay. Demurrage charges means charges on account of any losses, right? Charges on account of any losses that is happening when the goods are in the custody of the port trust authority, right? If like we saw in the import procedure yesterday, na? Pilferage charges, pilferage loss. Same way it can be demurrage loss, right? So if my goods are in the custody of the port trust authority and something happens to the goods, okay, it can either be in the form of pilferage or it can be in the form of demurrage, does not matter. The government is responsible. If the government is responsible for this loss, the government will pay compensation. All right. Clear na, guys? Should we quickly do? We still have 12 minutes. Should we quickly do our warehousing?
So is demurrage charge calculated in accessible value or not?
See, now okay. So demurrage charges, if they are in, if it happens while in custody of port trust authority, right? Then it is the port trust authority's fault, not under accessible value. It does not come under accessible value. Okay. Another demurrage charge might occur while loading or unloading of goods. Loading or unloading of goods from to or from the ship. To or from the ship. Okay. Now see, if they have specifically mentioned this, demurrage charges while unloading the goods to the custom stations. Will you take it or not? You'll take it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we'll take it. Because like I said, any losses that happens up to the point of unloading, right? You will see who is at fault. Okay. If the port trust authority is at fault, we will not take it under accessible value. Correct? If it happened while in the custody of port trust authority, we will not take it under accessible value. But if this is happening while loading or unloading from the ship, correct, then we'll take under accessible. Is this doubt clear? Okay, yes, next. So guys, should we do warehouse now quickly? Warehouse procedure, very simple.
Sir, one question is there in chat box, barge expenses.
Oh, sorry.
Sir, you are on mute.
Sorry, right. In case of barge expenses, any kind of expenses, the same thing happens. Any kind of expenses, the same thing will happen. If it is in the custody of Port Trust Authority, all these demurrage charge, barge expenses, pilferage, I'll tell you why all of this is happening. I'll tell you why all these expenses are happening. See, for example, if I'm bringing in a commodity, which by default, okay, due to weather condition, also there are losses. Due to weather condition, also there are losses. Because if I'm bringing it from a ship, the humidity in the air might lead to some losses, right? Okay, so avoidable losses or unavoidable losses does not matter. Okay, if it is charged to the customer, we are going to take in the assessable value. If it is borne by the seller, we will not take in the assessable value. So all these expenses, barge expenses, demurrage expenses, pilferage expenses, right? These are due to the nature of your conveyance, right? These are due to the nature of your conveyance that these expenses are happening. Okay. If they are charged to the customer, then what happens? Then it is taken under assessable value. If the seller has borne it, not under assessable value. If it has happened while in the custody of Port Trust Authority, not under assessable value.
So if it is under assessable value, then we have to reduce it after calculating basic FOB. After getting to the basic FOB.
Everything will be adjusted under basic FOB.
And insurance, if we are importing from Japan to India, and the insurance is made by insurer in India. Like insurance charges paid to insurer in India, is it included?
If it is for insurer in India, then it is not for transport charges. Then.
Okay.
See, why we are calculating assessable value? It is from the port of Japan to the Indian port, right? If the insurance is covering that part, then it makes sense to take it under assessable value. If you are paying it to an insurer in India, right, then you are insuring the goods on Indian land. Then why I'll take it under customs, right? I'll not take it under
customs. In that case, we won't take that value, but we will take 1.125% of FOB, right?
Yes, for other insurances, because other insurance is not ascertainable. It is not ascertainable how much is the insurance from Japan to India and from Indian port to Indian factory. So in that case, if it is not ascertainable, it is 1.125%.
And if the question doesn't mention anything about insurance, do we still have to add it?
No. If insurance, no adjustment is given about insurance. The word insurance is not there in your question. Don't just take 1.125%. Don't just take it.
For social welfare charges, even if it's not mentioned, we add it.
Because social welfare charges is one kind of a surcharge. See, there is a difference between duty. Hey, those who guys have exam at 6, they can leave. I'll take warehousing tomorrow. Okay. Duty is different, cess is different, and surcharge is different. Right? So duty is what? Duty is payable on happening on fulfilling the condition or not. Right? So duty can be, the rates can be different. Okay. Surcharge is always levied on duty. Correct? And cess is the education cess, right? Government is giving you an information. Government is making all this information available to you, right? That what comes under assessable value, what is the warehousing concept. Government is making all this information available. So for that, you have to pay education cess that will be levied on. This is always levied on duty plus surcharge. Okay. So these two are always levied. Okay. And duty will be dependent upon the situation. See if this is clear now. So surcharge is the SWS. Surcharge is your SWS is the surcharge, right? And cess is the education cess. that government is making so much of information available to you, government charges you education cess. Okay. So even if in the question they say that cess is 1%, so they might say basic custom duty is 10%, surcharge is 10%, SWS is 10%, and education cess is 1%. So what will happen? Let us say if the duty is 1 lakh, surcharge will be 1 lakh, correct? Into 1.10. Sorry, 1 lakh plus 10% into 10%, 10,000, and education cess will be 1 lakh plus 10,000, right? The whole thing into 1%. Right? Understood now? So these two will always be there. Huh? Surcharge, SWS is always there. Education cess, if it is given in the question, then only you guys take it. Because for BCom level, if they give it, then only you guys have to take. SWS you have to take by default. SWS you have to take by default. Okay. We'll see the next doubt. Rajeshwari Limited imported a machine from Germany in an aircraft. The bill of entry was presented on 12th July and aircraft arrived in India on 25th July. Okay. So in this case, guys, be aware that bill of entry, for how many days before can we file the bill of entry? Bill of entry should be filed 30 days before, na? So it is not more than 30 days. So this is okay. So 12th July and aircraft arrived in India on 25th July. The rate of import duty was 12% and 25th July was 15%. What is the applicable rate of duty? Rate of duty will be what? Rate of duty will be whichever is the later date. Okay. And rate of exchange will be that of bill of exchange, bill of entry. All right. So here it will be 15%. The answer will be 15%. So don't get confused between exchange rate and duty rate. Huh? Exchange rate will always be bill of entry and CBIC. 2 words. Okay. And duty rate is whichever is the later. But now pay attention. Huh? Now pay attention. Let us say in this question, if it was that the bill of entry was on, let us say, 1st July 2018, correct? And then aircraft arrived on, let us say, 4th August 2018. 4th August 2018. Okay. And then a new bill of entry was given again on 5th July. Then what is the date of bill of entry? Which date of bill of entry will take? Old date or new date?
New date.
New date, right? Because our rule is aircraft, your whatever conveyance, aircraft, vessel or vehicle should arrive within 30 days. If it is not arrived within 30 days, you'll have to pass a new bill of entry. And then new bill of entry date becomes the bill of entry date. This old bill of entry date is not relevant. Then the old bill of entry date is not relevant. Okay, done. Any other doubt, guys? Any other doubt? Okay, I don't think any other doubt is there. So we'll stop for the day. Tomorrow, guys, tomorrow what we'll do? Some special valuation cases of customs. We'll do two concepts of customs. Huh? First is warehousing. That is very simple. It will hardly take 5 minutes. Warehousing is the first concept that we'll do tomorrow. And special valuation cases in customs. Okay. Normal valuation we did yesterday. Normal valuation, assessable value, BCD, SWS, and IGST. That we did yesterday. Some special valuation cases are also there. That and warehousing will do it tomorrow. So don't miss this. Huh? Special valuation cases might come in the practical problems and warehousing will come in theoretical questions. All right. And also, do you guys want to just, go through the definitions? You guys want to go through the definitions? We'll do that also, if time permits. We'll do that also. Huh? We'll just go through the definitions of your IDT notes. All right. Because definitions might come for, see, anyway, definition you have to mug up. Okay. There is no other choice. Definitions, whatever definitions your professor has given you as important. Okay. I think the notes are there. Okay. So you have to just mug up the definition. Huh? It is a definition. There is no logic behind it. There was no logic. That's why the government has defined it. No? That's why the government has defined it. Okay. Yes, we'll go through the PDF. We'll go through the PDF, no problem. Okay. So from the PDF, special valuation cases are remaining, that will do. Can you provide some problems for homework? Yes. Tomorrow anyways is our last day. Okay. Tomorrow is our last day. So what I'll do is I'll provide you homework cases. You start solving them. Okay. And then in between, let us say if you get the question bank from your college, okay, one day we can keep for doubt solving also. Next doubt is, in GST, zero rated supply same as negative list. No, that day I explained. There is a difference between taxable goods, exempted goods, correct? Zero rated goods, okay, and negative list. Negative list means what? Non-taxable. Negative list is non-taxable. It will not be taxed, correct? Exempted goods are taxable, but right now exemption is given. Exemption is given, correct? Zero rated goods are also taxable, but rate of tax is zero. Rate of tax is 0%. And taxable goods means what? They are taxable and rate is more than 0%. Is more than 0%. So duty has to be paid. Okay. Got your doubt, Alina? Okay.
So yeah, I actually meant to ask, is the exempted list and zero rated list? Because the definitions are kind of similar here and there.
Yes, but see, exempted means what? They both are taxable and their tax is zero. But see the difference. This is taxable, rate is fixed. Zero rated goods, rate is fixed and rate is 0%. Exempted goods is what? It is taxable, but right now exemption is given. Later it might be changed and it might become zero rated, or later it can be changed by government. Yes, zero rated goods rate can be changed by government, and exempted goods can also be taken out of the exemption list. So these both can be made taxable by the government in the future. Huh?
So what is the main reason for these two headings like this?
For main reason for what?
Like exempted and zero rated. Like basically they can be changed.
Okay. Exemption is given because these goods, in some or the other way, these goods are good for the economy of the country. Production of these goods, supply of these goods is beneficial for the economy of the country. That's why an exemption is given. Okay. That exemption can be state-wise. That exemption can be area-wise, right? So exemption can be for whole India. Exemption can be for part of India. Exemption can be only for special economic zones. But zero rated goods are always taxed at zero rate. Does not matter where you are supplying. Got the difference now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why different definitions are given. All right. Anything else, guys? Anything else? All doubts are clear. Start studying, guys. Now we are about to finish it tomorrow. So you start studying on your own. When you study on your own, you'll have some of the other doubts. You can ask them on the group. You can ask me on WhatsApp also, no problem. Okay. So I'll save this first. Okay, no doubt. Then should we end the meeting, guys? All right. Fourth ka revision is confirmed now. Yes, yes. Fourth offline classes on 4th is confirmed. Okay. Timing will decide. Timing will decide. And it is going to be offline. It is going to be offline. Okay. Anything else?
The homework question you uploaded on Google
Drive. Yes, yes. I made a homework folder. I'll upload in that. So you guys, what you guys can do after we finish off our class tomorrow, you guys can start solving homework question, start whatever reading. See, because you guys will have studies for other subjects also, na? So that's why I'm not giving homework question as compulsion. It's optional. It's optional for you guys. Okay. And any doubt in homework question, you can always ask me, no problem. Okay. Anything else? Should I end? Methods of valuation, deductive method. We'll do tomorrow, na? I told na, tomorrow I'm doing 2 things, warehousing and special valuation cases. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave out anything. Huh? Don't worry, I'm not going to leave out anything. Okay. Even though this is a revision batch, I've tried to cover almost everything for you guys. Okay. So 95% of your syllabus is almost covered, right? And whatever you guys feel that this also, please teach us this. This is a little bit confusing. We guys still have tomorrow's day. Okay. We can do it for tomorrow also. Okay. Anything else? Should I end now? All right. See you tomorrow.